Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shizuoka. Congratulations on being part of the JET program. My name is Lois, and I am the prefectural advisor for Shizuoka from July 2024 to July 2026. As of August 2026, I have passed the baton to Denise. She is Shizuoka Prefecture's new CIR, Coordinator for International Relations, who is also your prefectural advisor. We'll get to know more later what a prefectural advisor does. And I would have loved to meet you guys, but for now, please make do with this video. Please watch it until the end because we have prepared this to help you transition in your new life in Japan smoothly, particularly here in Shizuoka Prefecture. So without further ado, I would like to move on with today's agenda, the orientation. Again, welcome to Shizuoka Prefecture, and this is the Shizuoka Prefecture post-arrival orientation. Now you have already spent a few weeks with your contracting organization. I hope they have explained to you a lot about life in Shizuoka. If you have questions, please don't be afraid to ask your supervisors, the people in your board of education, your senpais, other JET participants around you because they would be able to help you better since they know the area better. If you're having trouble communicating, of course, we have the use of mobile apps and of course friends who can speak both English and Japanese. But if you're having trouble with communicating with your contracting organizations, you could seek the help of your PA. For today, we'd like to discuss the JET program structure in Shizuoka Prefecture, um, living in Shizuoka and money management, how to think in yen, slightly, and of course, as part of Shizuoka Prefecture's initiatives, disaster preparedness. So it's going to be quite a long talk. So I hope you sit back, relax, grab a snack, a drink, and hopefully you can learn from this presentation. Okay, first, Shizuoka Prefecture. Some of you may have already researched before you came here to Japan. And Shizuoka is located right about the center of Japan. So it's an hour away from Tokyo via bullet train and 2 hours away from Osaka, an hour away from Nagoya. And it's facing the Pacific Ocean. So Surugao Bay, a part of Pacific Ocean. It's Japan's deepest bay. And of course, it's home to Japan's highest peak, Mount Fuji. And Shizuoka Prefecture has 23 cities and 12 towns. It has a population of 3,400,000 people as of July 2026. And within this number is 132,000 foreign residents. The population of foreign residents varies per city. So some cities have about 5% foreign resident population, 3%. Some cities or municipalities less than 1%. So the support for foreign residents in each city varies. But for Shizuoka Prefecture as a whole, most services can be classified depending where you live. So Shizuoka is often categorized into four regions: the Western region, Seibu; the Central region, Chubu; the Eastern region, Tobu. And Tobu is further divided into two, the Tobu region and the Kamo-Izu region. So sometimes they refer to the Eastern region, including the Izu Peninsula area. Please don't get confused when you reach it. So a lot of JET program participants are actually in the Izu area, the Tobu area. Actually, we're all over the prefecture. Um, so creating a community within the JET program participants might be a little difficult since the prefecture itself is very wide. Like transportation wise, it will take time to meet friends. So if you have chances to meet up online, please take the chance to do so. And of course, if you meet members of Shiza Jet, they organize events, often like varied in locations just so people can join wherever they are from. So JET program in Shizuoka Prefecture is managed in a way where the prefectural high schools and the municipal uh, elementary schools and junior high schools are managed by two different PA systems. So first, for you guys, people who are watching this video, you are the probably the elementary and junior high school municipal JET program participants. But we also handle the private school JET program participants. Your PA, prefectural advisor, is Denise. Her Japanese counterpart is Miss Koike. And you can reach them through Shizuoka Prefecture Intercultural Affairs Division's official email and phone number. On the other hand, the JET program participants assigned in prefectural high schools are under the Shizuoka Prefecture Board of Education High School Department. So you have Zach Ziegler as the JET program participant PA and his Japanese counterpart, Mr. Otaka. For any concerns regarding JET program and issues probably with your CO that cannot be resolved just between you and your CO, you should direct them to Denise or Koike. They will work together in assessing your situation and trying to help you find a solution regarding your situation. You are very much free to talk to Zach and other high school JET program participants, but please be aware that structure-wise, they are not obliged to help you. So they could be a friend, a helping friend, but if you want to address things in the proper manner, you should contact your assigned PA, which is Denise and Miss Koike, through the Shizuoka Prefecture Intercultural Affairs Division email address and phone number. So what do PAs do? This graph is taken from the JET program participant general information handbook. If you have read that material, you can see this there. So JET program participants are hired by the contracting organizations or COs. So COs communicate mostly with the host prefecture or designated city. By the way, in Shizuoka Prefecture, we have two designated cities, Shizuoka City and Hamamatsu City. So you will meet other JET program participants from those cities, and their PAs are different people. So you're free to talk to them, make friends with them. It's the same program anyway. But again, if you want to address matters, please do it through proper channels. And by the way, Line, Discord, Reddit is not the official way of communicating with your PA. Please address problems that require attention through the email. If they're like immediate problems, like that need response right away, it might be better to call someone closer to you, like a fellow JET program participant or your supervisor. Anyway, back to the topic. So contracting organizations and JET program participants usually communicate with the host prefecture. For you guys, it's Shizuoka Prefecture. And in the prefectural government, there are the PAs or prefectural advisors. So we usually facilitate the communication between Claire and the contracting organization. We are not your bosses. We are also not your boss's bosses. So we cannot actually tell your CEO to do this, do that, but we can only guide them that, oh, according to this guideline from Claire or according to her contract, it says this, or we can also guide them like, oh, since the JET program came from, since the JET program participant came from this background, they might be seeing it this way. So have you tried bridging the gap between this difference in perspective? So we cannot put down like a memo and like do this, do that. That's something that PAs we that is something PAs cannot ultimately do. At the end of the day, we are advisors, not bosses. Okay. If you've read through your handbook, you will also see this illustration. So your CEO is your direct employer. They set your employment policies. They determine your schedule, they process your schedule. For you, most of you guys, this is your BOE. They should provide immediate workplace and lifestyle support, and they should distribute to you the information from the host prefecture or designated city. Host prefecture or prefectural advisors. So we can assist if problems cannot be solved between COs and participants. If you find yourself not being able to communicate across what you want to say, that's when you can reach out to us and we can help you navigate through the communication gap. And of course, we cannot act on something that is not reported to us PAs. So if you have concerns, please address it to the proper channel so we can act on them. And PA should at least be one JET program participant and one non-JET PA, the Japanese counterpart. And another task of PAs are provide or run local conferences or orientation like this. For Shizuoka Prefecture, we only have this post-arrival orientation. And then we used to have the skills development conference under the Intercultural Affairs Division, but you will receive information about this from the Board of Education. So they will be handling the skills development conference from this year. So we also handle information dissemination from Claire. And of course, Claire. So as for Claire support, Claire has a lot of programs to help us to help JET program participants adjust to life here in Japan. So please refer to the handbook or to the website if you have questions. So we will now move on to the next topic, which is living in Shizuoka and money management. So daily life in Shizuoka, some things you should consider. First of all, you should familiarize yourself with your neighborhood. So get to know where the nearest supermarket is, or pharmacy, or drugstore, hospital, clinic, or police boxes, koban, and evacuation area. Knowing the evacuation area for your place is a must because Shizuoka, as beautiful as it is also very prone to disasters, since typhoons, earthquakes, tsunamis, and heavy rains. There is a high probability that you will face it as you live here in Shizuoka. Another advice is to plan your commute. Once you familiarize yourself with your neighborhood, please make a plan for your commute if you will take the bus to work or if you take the train, if you cycle, walk, or drive. So it well, it is still summer and school is not yet busy. It is the best time to be planning your commute and familiarizing with the transportation system here in Japan. A lot of times, the local buses and trains have websites where you can check the departure times and arrival times, as well as if buses or trains are getting late. You can check this from these websites. Most of these are initially in Japanese, but you would find language change options. And there's also the option to like translate the homepage mechanically using your browser settings. Another advice is to check the weather regularly. In Japan, their weather forecast is actually pretty good. Although in Shizuoka it might change easily, but they really update it regularly. So it's best to check the weather regularly and be aware of advisories and weather warnings. In Japan, weather warnings and advisories have corresponding actions you need to do. So if it's just alert or caution, or if it's already evacuation level kind of warning, each disaster has a different warning level. So please familiarize yourself with it by using the disaster preparedness app or reading through the evacuee life guidebook we have handed out to you when we picked you up in Tokyo. And we will discuss more about disaster preparedness later. Okay, this is one of the biggest issues with living in Japan. A lot of people are still confused with separating their garbage. So each city, sometimes a locality in a city, have different garbage separation rules. So if you are not sure on how to throw out your trash or garbage, please ask your supervisor or a fellow JET program participant that lives near your place or at least the same area. And please bring them out on schedule. Like people actually check the garbage disposal, and if something is not properly disposed, it's very easy to point fingers to foreigners because they're not aware of the garbage properly. Please take responsibility in familiarizing yourself with the garbage segregation. And another tip is to always bring identification with you. As foreigners here in Japan, we have the privilege of living here in this country. So don't take it too bad if a police officer stops you and asks for identification, because you have nothing to worry about if you are here legally. So just answer what is asked and don't say too much. But of course, if you feel like you're being wrong for being stopped and ask your identity, you could always raise your concern to the proper channels and report it to the nearest police box and stuff like that. So please always carry your residence card with you. So you can keep your passport in a safe place, but keep your residence card with you. And another tip is to keep emergency contacts. So you should be able to memorize or keep a copy of your address on your phone, of course, your own phone number, and always have a copy of your supervisor's phone number, even if it's the school phone number or the BOE phone number, and of course, the PA phone number and the number of your embassy in case something urgent happens to you. Of course, the lifeline numbers here in Japan, like for police and for ambulance. Yeah, so check those numbers up and have them saved in your phone. For more detailed daily life orientation videos, the Immigration Services Agency published a video in YouTube. It's quite a long video, but they're like bite-sized version of it too. So if you have time, especially now that it's summer and the students are not yet in school, please watch these videos, because some things that are obvious to us in our home countries is actually surprising in Japan. Well, some things that are like obvious to Japanese, like common sense to Japanese, is actually not common sense to us foreigners who came from different backgrounds. So it would be a nice step forward towards a life in harmony in Japan if you would be familiar in how Japanese people perceive things in their daily life. So if you please make time. So please make time to watch these videos from the Immigration Services Agency. And of course, another step towards bridging uh, communication with Japanese residents, with the Japanese people around you, is of course learning their language. So JET program itself has a Japanese language course, and the sign up is done monthly. So if you sign up now, you can join from next month, and it's conducted online. But if you're wanting to join something more local, something in person, you can check out the Japanese language classes offered by the international exchange organizations and other NPOs in your area. So the Shizuoka Association for International Relations website lists down some of these language classes. So please feel free to check out SIR's website. And of course, as an incentive from JET program, if you achieve N3 in the JLPT and above, you can get your testing fee reimbursed. You can read more about this in your handbook. If you have questions, you can also send an email to your PA. Another topic I'd like to discuss is health. So for most of you guys, health might be a private matter, but in Japan, employers are required to know the state of health of their employees. So there is an annual workplace health examination, and this is compulsory. You have to take this every year. And and you should also have sick leave clauses in your contracts. So, but taking sick leave in Japan might be different from taking sick leave in your home country. You have to understand when to ask for sick leave. So check your contract, how it is worded, because in Japan, it is generally assumed that for colds, fever, um, you just take your regular paid leave. And when you need to take sick leave, please call your school or office. Do not text, no matter how close you are with your supervisor. Please call your school or office and talk to your supervisor. And if you file sick leave, depending on the case, they might ask you to get a shindansho, or a doctor's certificate. Um, please make sure that it has the date and the wording is clear, because there were some cases that um, the sick leave was not approved because of unclear wording. So the health certificate costs separate from your consultation fee. It can cost as much as 5,000 yen. I had mine for 10,000 yen. So it depends on the office. And some doctor's office only take cash. And on that note, how do you find a doctor? Please ask the senpai jets in your area. They probably have consulted with a doctor already. It's difficult to find an English-speaking doctor in Japan. So if someone could come interpret with you, that would be helpful too. But you can also contact SIR, the International Shizuoka Association for International Relations, to ask if they have available interpreters. You can also use the website iriojoho.net. The website is in Japanese, but you can change it to English um, to find doctors and specialists. Okay. What do you need to bring to the doctor's office when you go for a consultation? Of course, you need your My Number card or proof of insurance. I'll discuss more about this on the next slide. And with this, you also need to bring your residence card, or if you don't have your residence card with you, your passport. And if you're taking any medicine, please bring that too, so the doctor can assess if they will change your medicine or adjust. Of course, bring cash or credit card to pay. But most of the time, please bring cash, because of the insurance policy, some hospitals or clinics do not accept credit cards. Insurance. So we are obligated to pay social insurance. It is deducted from our paycheck, and this covers 70% of our medical expenses. And there's also reimbursement for high cost medical cares. However, this does not cover preventive medicine, pregnancy related health care, and unnecessary eye exams or dental procedures. Actually, from December of 2024, Japan no longer issues health insurance cards, so they're not accepted in clinics and hospitals anymore. Instead, the health insurance is connected with your My Number card. When you go to the city hall to register your information, they probably have told you that you will receive a postcard about your My Number card registration. So for more information about My Number card registration, please coordinate with your supervisor or senpai jets in your area. But some people in Japan do not have My Number cards yet, or they refuse to get My Number cards. So they can instead get a eligibility confirmation letter from your workplace. So the Shikaku Kakurinsho, you can ask your supervisor to ask your jimusho, your registrar, the staff office, to print out a eligibility confirmation letter for you. Sometimes it's a card, sometimes it's a letter. It depends on where you work. Okay, let's move on to driving and cycling. For some of you guys, you may have been required to drive for work since transportation to your school is not that readily available. So if you own an IDP or international driving permit, you can drive in Japan for 1 year or until your IDP expires, whichever is shorter. If you exceed 1 year in Japan and you're still using your IDP, you will be subject to driving without license. So you will have to convert your license in Japan or get a Japanese license from scratch. But for people who do not drive, or who do not cycle, please still be aware of the traffic safety rules, because there is a traffic safety guideline for pedestrians and cyclists published by the National Police. It Yeah, Knowing the traffic safety guidelines, even as a pedestrian, helps avoid accidents on the road, especially that you can learn how drivers think because they also teach drivers these guidelines. So, if you care about your safety, please take time to read these guidelines. So for people who would like to convert their foreign driver's license to a Japanese license, the process is called Gaimen Kirikai. It involves document check, interview, eye test, written test, and practical driving test. But citizens of 28 countries, including Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and USA, from the states of Hawaii, Maryland, and Washington, are exempted from taking the written and practical tests. So some countries, they are exempted from taking the practical test but have to take the written test. So please confirm with your driving license center. Your driving license center, because there are 3 driving license centers in Shizuoka Prefecture, and it is best to process your Gaimen Kirikai, your license conversion, with the office assigned to where you live. Because, for example, you live in Tobu, but you wanted to change your license in Chubu, you would have to get approval from Tobu Driving License Center before you can process anything in Chubu. The license centers are found in Tobu, in Numazu City, Chubu in Shizuoka City, and Seibu in Hamamatsu City. So you can just pause the video or check the Shizuoka Prefectural Police website. And for those who own bicycles and who would like to cycle here in Japan, maybe not for work, even if it's just for grocery shopping or personal errands, you are required to register your bicycle. When you buy a bicycle, the shop can do it for you for a fee around 800 yen. I think it's 800, 600, or 1,000 yen. I don't think the price has changed yet, but it shouldn't cost too much. And bicycle registration is important because if ever a police stops you and finds that your bicycle is not registered to you, it belongs to someone else, you will be accused of having stolen something. So it would cause you trouble and your supervisor trouble. And if you buy a non-registered bicycle, maybe from your senpai, and there's no proof of purchase and you can't register it, you will also be accused of stealing it because you cannot prove that you own it. And if for some reason your bicycle gets stolen, y- you probably wish that you have registered it because if your bicycle is registered, they will search for that bicycle. The police can like search for your bicycle if it is registered. And if you have bicycles, please register with cycling liability insurance. It is mandatory in Shizuoka Prefecture. So bicycle accidents can be expensive and you will be liable for the damages if they are not covered by bicycle insurance. For some people, bicycle insurance is included in the clause for their renter's insurance or fire insurance for their apartment. So please check your contracts. If not, you can get this from the convenience store or from digital wallets. And some tips to keep you safe while cycling. Please use bicycle lanes. Japan has gotten stricter lately, like having fines for bicycle riders too. So please travel in the same direction as motor vehicles and give way to pedestrians. Don't ring your bell on pedestrians. It's considered rude in Japan. And of course, observe traffic regulations. Do not cycle with just one hand and do not have someone ride at your back. Do not have someone ride at the back of your bicycle. Do not block the road. Like, do not ride the bicycle parallel to someone. Please turn on your bicycle lights at night. Observe the traffic signal lights. During rainy days, do not cycle with your while holding your umbrellas. Do not talk on the phone while you're on your bicycle, and do not wear earphones while on your bicycle because these are subject to penalty. The fines can range from 5,000 yen to 20,000 yen. Now let's talk about money. So for some of you who have worked jobs before, you may have been paid bi-weekly, but in Japan, we are only paid once a month. So it is deposited to your bank account every month, and you will receive a monthly pay stub. It's called Meisaisho. And this should indicate all the deductions. So from your taxes, insurance, and etc. If your country has a tax agreement with Japan, um, tax agreement will only exempt you from income tax, but you need to pay residence tax. But for some cities, not because of these tax agreements, for some cities, they have this rule that if you don't pay income tax, you also don't pay residence tax. And the rate for residence tax also varies per city. So please don't compare your residence tax to someone who lives in a different city from you. And check your Meisai show if you are getting this deducted this income tax and residence tax. And please talk to your supervisor if you think that you are being deducted these taxes even if you shouldn't be because of the tax agreements between Japan and your home countries. For JET program participants from the US, if you look at the notes section of this PowerPoint presentation we have also sent to you, there's a link about home country taxes. You can use this as a guide to file your taxes at home. And another thing you will receive at the end, or not at the end, at the beginning of the following year is a Gensen Choshuyo. It is your statement of earnings. It is a summary of what you made, how much is deducted from you, and how much you're going to be taxed for the next year. Please keep these Meisaisho and Gensen Choshuyo because you might need them when you renew your visa. So another thing about tax, residence tax particularly, is that it is billed the following year. So since JET program participants arrive in summer, end of July or early August, or for some intermittent arrivals somewhere in the middle, you don't pay residence tax yet from August to December, or August to June actually, because the following year, um, from June, you will be paying the residence tax of what you worked for from August to December of 2026. And the year after that, you will be, so wait, the year after that, you will start paying for what you worked for in the whole of 2027 from June of 2028. So if you plan on leaving on your second year or first year, you need to pay the tax for the previous year as well as the tax for the current year you are paying for. So when you plan your finances, please be mindful that you are paying for the previous year and not the current year yet. So if for some reasons you have to leave Japan, you will have to pay for the current year too. So please plan properly if you plan on staying or leaving Japan. Um, it, residence tax can be deducted from your payslip, but it can also be notified to you through postcard, and you will have to pay the monthly amount via convenience store or other payment methods. But it there are also some cases where they deduct the whole residence tax at the end of the year, and it can reach to as much as 300,000 yen. So please confirm with your supervisor how they are deducting your residence tax from you from the second year onwards, from June onwards. So I've touched on this a little, payment methods. So you can use the convenience store to pay taxes and bills, water bills, electricity bills, but the easiest way is to have them automatically drawn from your account. So when you enroll for utilities such as electricity, gas, and water, you can apply for automatic bill payments through bank transfer. If you were not able to do so when you applied for these services, you can ask for help from your supervisor or from your senpais on how to apply for this. Because sometimes they come with a first bill. Like, would you like to do automatic transfers instead? Sometimes you can just use their website or their application to apply for these automatic transfers. And of course, banks, such as the Postal Bank Yucho, they would have apps and you can pay through apps. There are also digital wallets that allow you to pay for utilities and other expenses through the app. Okay, cashless options in Japan. Well, there are electronic payment options, yes, as use of credit card, use of your transportation card, digital wallets, your credit cards mobile application. It is best to keep cash with you because a lot of places in the Japanese countryside are still cash-based. So some budgeting tips for you guys. Please set a budget for your monthly living expenses. It might be difficult for the first month, but try to adjust to the Japanese yen way of thinking of things. Of course, it is a great money saver if you prepare your own meals or bring your own bento or lunchbox to work. And of course, if you avail a school lunch. You can also try opening another bank account for your savings. In Japan, it is discouraged to have two accounts in the same bank. My Japanese friend told me that, but if you can try to open another bank account with a different bank if you want to separate your expenses from your savings. And schedule your bank withdrawals to avoid transaction fees. A lot of ATM machines in Japan have transaction fees if they are outside operation hours. They do not run 24 hours. It was one of my biggest culture shocks coming here. And of course, set up automatic payments for your bills just so you don't forget to pay them. And for more information about daily life, I mentioned earlier the ISA Immigration Services Agency. They have a website portal for foreign nationals that has very useful information about living in Japan. And of course, we have the Shizuoka Association for International Relations, or SIR, and they have information classified per region depending on where you are living in. And of course, please follow the Shizuoka Prefecture Intercultural Affairs Division Facebook page for official information coming from the government. This is also managed by the CIR, Shizuoka Prefecture CIR. Now, before we move on to the next topic, please feel free to pause this video, stretch a little bit, grab a drink, grab a snack, and we'll talk more about disaster preparedness when you get back. Welcome back. I hope you had a nice stretch, a little break before continuing. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, Shizuoka is very beautiful. I love Shizuoka. It is very rich with nature, and Shizuoka became this beautiful because Mother Nature is very active in Shizuoka. So Shizuoka is prone to natural disasters. But for today, I'd like to talk about disasters in Japan. Well, disasters in Japan and Shizuoka Prefecture, things to do to protect your life, places to evacuate to or to take shelter, and preparations before a disaster takes place. So first of all, disasters in Japan. So common natural disasters in Japan include earthquakes, tsunami, heavy rains, and typhoons. Let's talk about earthquakes. So, if you are not familiar or you came from a country where earthquakes do not happen, I envy you. Earthquakes can shake the ground severely and destroy standing structures. Japan is a country with a lot of earthquakes, and it is not possible to predict the exact place nor is the intensity or magnitude of an earthquake. So there has been a warning in Japan now for the Nankai Trough mega earthquake. It is expected to be around 7.8 8, magnitude 7.8, a very strong earthquake that can destroy buildings, cause tsunami, and great devastation expected when this happens. But still, it is impossible to predict when exactly it is gonna happen and when it's gonna happen. They are basing this off historical records, but we cannot know precisely when. So, not to scare you guys, but um, uh, just like everyone to know that earthquakes are common in Japan. Earthquakes can happen in Japan. And if you know that earthquakes can happen, you can prepare for when it happens. So, in connection to earthquakes are tsunamis. So, tsunamis are a series of waves. Actually, series, it's not just a big wave. It is a series of waves that can surge inland and hit residential homes. So there's a great possibility of a tsunami occurring when an earthquake strikes at the bottom of the sea. So if it's an inland earthquake, tsunami risk is very low. But if the tsunami source, if the earthquake source is from the ocean or from the sea, there is a great possibility of an earthquake. Tsunamis are very fast, very strong, and can occur repeatedly. I have a question for you guys. How fast is a tsunami surging inland? Is it similar to like just a light jog? Or is it similar to the speed if you run fast? Or is it similar to the speed of an Olympic sprinter? If you answered number three, you are correct. So it is impossible to outrun a tsunami surging inland because are we all not Olympic sprinters? So the speed of the tsunami varies according to the depth of the sea. So if the sea is deeper, the tsunami travels faster. So it goes slower as it goes inland. But when it hits inland, it still travels as fast as 100 meters in 10 seconds. So still faster than an Olympic sprinter. So a tsunami is really fast. You cannot escape it even if you run. And there are cases of cars that were taken by tsunami while rushing. So even cars can be washed away by tsunamis. So, but another question though. Do you think it is possible to escape with ease and safety from a 30 centimeter, that is about 11 inches, high tsunami? Yes or no? So if you answered no, you are correct. So even small tsunamis, like those 30 centimeter high or 11 inches high, they're still really strong. It is not possible to stand up when a tsunami hits. And a tsunami with a height of 50 centimeters can wash away cars. So even a 2 feet tall tsunami can wash away cars. Again, to review, a tsunami is really fast, really strong, and it can hit several times. So even if you see a big wave already, it doesn't mean it's over. It can occur multiple times. So tsunamis are scary, but there are still other disasters that are more frequent in Japan. These are heavy rains and typhoons. So what's the difference between heavy rains and typhoons? Large amount of water is accumulated when it rains heavily, and water river water levels increase during heavy rains. This can cause flooding to the streets or even inside people's homes. When these heavy rain is partnered with strong winds, it's called a typhoon. And typhoon can blow away things and can even uproot trees. It can blow away like solid materials. And when these solid materials hit glass windows, it can cause danger to your life. So those are the disasters in Japan. So what do we need to do to protect ourselves from these disasters? In case of an earthquake and you are wherever you are, you should stay away from things that might collapse, fall, or endanger your life. If you are inside and there's a table or desk near you, you should duck, cover, and hold. Hold until the shaking stops, and then when the shaking stops, that's when you can evacuate going out. First, you should protect your head. If you are outside, so retaining walls, this might collapse. Lampposts, utility poles, they might fall down. So what do? You keep away from these. You still like crouch down and like try to cover your head. And when you go outside and see this, you stay away from them because aftershocks might happen. So if you see that roads are broken and like there are narrow pathways, surrounding objects might fall on you, and these broken roads might break down further if there are aftershocks. You also do not walk through these roads and narrow paths. If you are near mountains or cliffs, so these might collapse. Should keep away from them. I have a question. In which direction should you run if there is a risk of mountains or cliffs collapsing or causing landslide due to an earthquake? You should run sideways because at some point the rubble would stop expanding sideways, but it would keep pushing downwards. So if you run sideways, you have better chances of survival. If you're at home during an earthquake, stay away from objects that might fall and windows that break. And after the shaking stops, you can uh, get out of your hold position, wear your shoes, turn off the stove, and turn off the gas valve to avoid fires. Then you can go to your evacuation area. Another thing, if you live near the sea or you're in a tsunami-prone area, please evacuate immediately to a high ground. And please don't forget to turn off your breaker before evacuating. Once it is safe to return, check if your home is damaged by the earthquake. If there is fire, you can put it out by yourself. Please use a fire extinguisher or water to try to put it out. And ask for neighbors' help if you are not confident in putting out the fire. The Japanese word for fire is, if you answered he, you are correct, but it is more common to say kaji in case of household fires. If there is a fire and it is too big for you to put out, get away from the fire. Try to crawl when evacuating since the smoke goes higher, and try not to inhale the smoke. You can wet a towel. If you can wet a towel to cover your nose while evacuating, please do so. So if a large-scale earthquake happens, electricity might be out for a week, water can be out for a month, gas can be out for a month, and telephone or cell phone services can be out for about 2 weeks. Like how can we continue to live if our lifeline services will be stopped? But we're not yet done. We're still going to, then what are the things to do to protect your life during a tsunami? If there is a tsunami warning, tsunami alert, please escape to high places as fast as you can. Tsunami might come repeatedly, so don't come back until it is safe to do so. So, tsunami-prone areas often have tsunami evacuation towers, and some buildings are designated as tsunami evacuation buildings. During heavy rains and typhoons, so please pay attention to announcement on TV, radio, and disaster PA system. Radio. NHK Radio has a multilingual radio where disaster information is also translated to English. But of course, in this age, please check out social media, especially your city's social media and Shizuoka Prefecture Intercultural Affairs Division Facebook page for uh, weather-related announcements. Listen closely to the information provided by the city or town hall, and be ready to evacuate on notice. You can also use Saipos radar by Shizuoka Prefecture. It is in Japanese, but there's a language change option to English. You can see the amount of rains. You can see the weather warnings, evacuation notices. It is a very helpful website. Saipos radar, as in SIPOS, and radar. You should also check the hazard map in your area beforehand and familiarize yourself which areas are prone to which kinds of disasters, not just at home, but also from your place of work. So, which brings us to our next topic, where to evacuate or take shelter during these disasters. So when you familiarize yourself with your neighborhood, please familiarize yourself too with these signs. So evacuation areas, these are the first places where you can evacuate to when an earthquake happens. So once the shaking stops, this is where you run to. It is a wide open place such as a park, schoolyard, etc. And the next symbol is for tsunami evacuation area. These are usually higher ground, such as mountains, hills, where tsunami is unlikely to reach. And the third sign is for tsunami evacuation building, which are designated evacuation areas for tsunamis. And fourth thing I'd like you to remember is the evacuation center. So in case a disaster happens and your place is not safe to live in anymore, you can stay temporarily in an evacuation center. So this is usually a community center or or a school gym. So when a disaster occurs, it is not required for everyone to move to an evacuation center. You can continue living in your home if it is safe. Lastly, after all these scary things I talked about, I hope you're not scared about living in Japan after everything I talked about, after everything I discussed. So, what are the preparations we can make before disasters can happen? So, if you open the guidebook we gave you when we picked you up from Tokyo, these are some tips you can strengthen your home against disasters. So please be mindful where you place your bed, or you can buy these things that can prevent your furniture from falling over or slipping out. Japan has a lot of these things because they take disaster prevention seriously. And during a disaster, goods might run out. So food might be a difficult situation. So in order to prevent this, because nobody is expected to take care of you when a disaster happens except yourself. Not even your supervisor, not even your senpai. You can't just tell them that "Look, you're supposed to take care of me when this happens." I mean, they can help you out of their own hearts, but first and foremost, you are supposed to prepare for yourself. So, what should you prepare for in case a disaster happens? You should have at least 7 days worth of water, food, and to cook this food, it will be best if you have a portable stove. And of course, you should not only manage what you take in, but what also, and not, but also how you take out the food you eating. So it's best to have a rolling stock of food that you consume, but at the same time, you can also stock uh for a good amount of time. Not just food, but for your own safety and comfort, and of course, identification purposes. You should keep your passport, an emergency light or flashlight, radio, or mobile batteries might be more relevant these days. Batteries, gloves, medicines, tissue paper, extra clothes, a Swiss knife, matches or lighter, water, emergency food, cups, plates, utensils, towel. You should have an emergency go bag, but you should prepare this bag with only stuff you can carry. You don't have to put everything inside the bag if it will just make you suffer. You should only prepare what you can carry. To summarize, please keep things you need to evacuate in a backpack. So keep the essentials. So maybe water, food, your passport. Wrap your passport in a Ziploc bag to make it waterproof, and your medical records. And even before an emergency happens, please look up what you need to do in case of an emergency, where to evacuate, where to contact for help, how to contact your supervisor in case, or how to contact your CO in case a disaster happens. Because in JET program, since we are employees, neither Claire nor us can tell your CO, don't ask them to go to work. They were affected by the disaster. No, we can't tell them that. It's up to your CO to decide. So you need to have means of communication with your CO in case of a disaster. And if you can, please secure your furniture to the wall to reduce the risk of what they call this, to reduce the risk of injury. So you only have one life, and living in Japan is fun, but please take measures to protect your life. So before a disaster happens, please learn more about disasters and prepare your things in case a disaster happens. And when a disaster actually happens, you can protect your family and yourself, and you can continue with your life. So our own lives are our own responsibilities. Um, with all that discussed, I hope you gain knowledge through this orientation. If you have questions, feel free to write an email. Please answer the survey, and we're hoping to hear from you. And if I see you around Shizuoka, please say hi. Thank you so much for listening, and please enjoy life in Shizuoka.